they are so good, so it's impossible not put loss here.
I guess it is impossible not put loss.
Campeonato regional lá no Brasil é muito complicado, são muitos times bons, tanto que cada ano acaba mudando os times que vão para o Mundial e tal, porque a região é muito forte, então é muito complicado jogar lá e jogar contra o Fluxo também, que é o melhor time do mundo atualmente, mas dessa vez a gente conseguiu sair campeão.
Ele vem, ó, pra cima, como tem que ser, a direção é uma só, vambora, Rigby, já chamou na distância também, Loss!
A motivação é saber que o título que me falta é o Mundial, sabe? Porque a gente já ganhou bastante, ganhou de tudo já. Campeonato Brasileiro, Continental, a única coisa que está faltando mesmo é o Mundial. Então a gente vem bastante motivado para ganhar esse ano, se Deus quiser. Então, para se provar, a gente tem que ser campeão aqui e vai ser dessa vez.
There's a reason why Loss is being highlighted, and it is because not only are they champions looking down upon their own region, but also potential champions here at EWC 25. And just seeing their first play day yesterday for day 2, they looked so good, so on point. The chemistry was there. And I think the question we now have is, are they really world champion material? I think they're really close. Raja, I'm pretty sure you're more familiar with Loss than the rest of us on the panel. What is it that Loss does that makes them such a high quality team?
Well, I saw an interview and I also wrote it down here. I will say like the general words. Well, he'd say that they are really confident with the players' individual skills because they already have like one of the top 3 rushes. Rushes from Brazil. But when they need, they know how to play it safe. So I mean, they can adapt in every type of play style. So they can even beat Asian teams, and they are not even.
Hangisi?
just make the cut?
Yeah, I mean, just running through basic calculations first. If we look at the teams from A and C, double their scores, and it's only Virtus Pro who might be able to go and take over against Alpha 34, who's currently the bottom of Group B. But there's still also some risk for Hotshots right now, because once I did some simulation, Hotshots was just ending in there on the top 12, and it's a potential that he can be thrown out. They can be thrown out of that top 12 spot. But for the rest of the teams, 3 simulations has been done. The result's always the same unless they really pump it up for this day.
Yeah, so it seems very top heavy for teams in Group B. Well, we're going to have to see what happens there. But one thing we do know is that we have an interview lined up with Buriram. So let's see what Buriram have to say before they kick off their first match today.
Hi everyone, it's Kyungso and welcome to our interview with Buriram United Esports from Thailand. Hello everyone. So yesterday you guys already have for yourself a first booyah, but after that everything seems to be very slow down. It's still like click off. What happened?
Such a small mistake over and over again. Such a small mistake over and over again. For example, like we are moving into the last circle, like a bit too slow, so everything went down from that point.
Alright, I understand. So yesterday it's just a little small mistake, but I think today Buriram will come back stronger. So what is your goal today and what are you expecting the most for today's match?
ก็วันนี้
การซ้อมข้อที่ผิดพลาดอย่างหนักครับแล้วก็วันนี้เราก็ได้จะทำเต็มที่น่าจะผลงานน่าจะออกมาดีครับ
So we will try our best on in today's matches. So after yesterday match, we went back and like keep looking into one by one of our small mistakes that happened during the games, and hopefully we already fix all of them, and let's see what's gonna happen in today's games.
I think today's Buriram is gonna be okay, like usual. They are king of Booyah, so they're gonna make it into the quarter stage and of course the grand finals. Alright, okay, so how do we say fighting in Thai?
สู้ๆ
Okay ค่ะสู้ๆนะ Buriram.
So to Buriram fans out there who might be a little concerned to them, they made a couple of mistakes, and that was really why they fell out of the grouping. I think originally we kind of thought it was just a grouping incompatibility. They just couldn't play their game.
I don't know about the mistakes, but it seems like they don't want to take the lead in the knockout stage. They don't want to show all their cards yet because they're preparing it for point rush as well as grand finals.
Yeah, and I think for the most part of it, even though it's small mistakes, it's only still 60 amount of points is still pretty good. It still puts them in contention and definitely for a position for top 12.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on these teams. It looks like we are basically ready to go here for match number 1 between groups A and C. Teams in Group B, they can only look on and watch and hope that they've earned enough in their previous matches. But I think we're ready to fly on over to the main stage. Survivors, let's head on over to game number 1.
Gue cukup seneng banget ada di Arab sini karena ini impian gue sebelum-sebelumnya bareng tim gue juga. Season lalu kita cuma jadi penonton dan sekarang kita akhirnya bisa jadi pemain di sini.
รู้สึกดีครับตื่นเต้นก็เป็นความฝันด้วยที่มาแข่งรายการใหญ่ๆครับ
Tipo, nunca ter desistido, porque eu jogo faz muito tempo já, e ter continuado tentando, mesmo fracassando, seguindo em frente, erguendo a cabeça, valeu a pena ter chegado aqui.
Latihan mungkin ya kerjanya lebih keras kalau ditambah, terus kayak saling percaya satu sama lain, saling nguatin lah satu sama lain. Yangมีครับยังไม่ได้ใช้แผนหมดครับ Tentang semua tim di sini ya pastinya jago-jago lah ya. Ibaratkan kayak ya ini udah masuk World Champion, pasti semua di sini yang terbaik lah.
No Brasil já são tiros fortes lá, mas aqui é um nível completamente diferente. Cada erro, por mínimo que seja, custa muito caro aqui.
รู้สึกว่าปลดล็อกอะไรหลายๆอย่างครับปลดล็อกหลายอย่างเลยสไตล์การเล่นแล้วด้วยวิธีไฟท์ทีมใช่ครับ
a cada queda tentando jogar como se fosse a última e tentando o melhor resultado.
ที่เราได้บูย่ามา แล้วเจอกันต่อรอบชิงครับ
ก็ปล่อยผมเข้ารอบชิงครับเชื่อมั่นในตัวผมครับเดี๋ยวผมพาชูถ้วยครับ
Sampai bertemu di final nanti.
พวกเราจะเอาแชมป์กลับประเทศไทย
Welcome! It's time to get stage 3 of knockout stage is started. Group B wrapped it up yesterday, and what a show it was, huh? Asian teams are leading strong, but Brazil, Latin, and Mina are fighting really hard too. Today, it all ends, my friends. 12 teams will rise and move on to Point Rush on the road to the grand finals. Stay with us. Feel every second. This is where Free Fire history is made. And now, let's meet the teams who will take the stage today and fight to leave their mark on the Esports World Cup. First up is Vision System! it's open. And now Free Fire squads have entered the battleground. Each one of them here are chasing glory. Each one are ready to survive the storm. But before we drop into the action, let's take a little trip into the wild. One of our brave reporter has been out in the field tracking rare creatures, the Free Fire pro play. This one you know. The rituals, the movements, the natural habitats. Let's go now into the wild. The world of EWC Deadliest Hunters. Let's go.
At the Dynamite, it's me here at Maps, the Play Hunter. We are now right here in Riyadh Boulevard, Rose City for Esports World Cup 2025. And I'm here to try to find out what does our pro player doing here in Boulevard. It seems that I'm lost. Can't seem to find anyone here. Could we find a pro player here to see what they're doing? Where are they? I still can't see them. I think the map's broken. Maybe here? Oh, crikey. Spot some few pro players walking. Not you. It looks like they are entering some sort of an arena. I think we should go. Let's go. Let's find out what are they doing. Mate, we are now right here in some sort of arena. It called itself as STC Gaming Arena, but I'm not so sure. And it looks like I have spotted a few pro players doing some sort of ritual. I do not dare to get close. Crikey, look at that. They are trying to get the luck from the previous team that has won before. Such an amazing behavior. Nothing like that have we been seeing. They're trying to pull all the luck here from the previous winner. Hey, oh my God, it looks like they are going away. Come, let's go. After it. Go. Crikey, that was so good. Hello, guys. Hello, I'm Map. Hello. It's a map for the play. I know. I player. Oh, you're playing up. Yeah. We're gonna catch up to the pro player. It looks like they have Oh, crikey. They're angry. No, they're not. They're just doing their final bow for luck. And it looks like they are going somewhere else. Let's go. We don't miss it. Let's go. We're almost lost him. Let's go. Oh, sorry. Okay, it's fine. Oh, it looks like they added another one. Now there's 3. What a weird behavior. I think this is the continuous chanting for good luck. Mate, this is something I don't see every day. It looks like they have done their ritual. They have went back to their habitat. And that it's all here at Boulevard EWC 2025. I'll see you guys later. Danger.
Welcome to the Free Fire at the Esports World Cup 25 knockout stage, day number 3, where nothing is granted, everything is earned. You're here to start the show with me, Husky, and the Mustachio AJ. 6 more rounds between Group A and Group C, and until then, we'll find out which 12 teams will make it to Point Rush and eventually the grand finals.
Everything is earned, in some case stolen. That's exactly what we want to tune into today. Group B, unfortunately, they have laid their chances to rest. 12 games in total. They've pulled away whatever they can pull from the competition. Alpha 34, it doesn't take a genius to figure out they are definitely not going to be at Point Rush. But the question still is in the balance. Hot shots from Pakistan. Will they make it? 87 points. That's not too much, Husky.
Yeah, that's not too much, but they ended yesterday in 7th spot.
Yeah.
That's a spot higher than what we wanted from them. We wanted them to just be in top 8, and they did, and they went one step above. And like you said, the question is, can they still survive today? We still need 5 more teams at least to not make it. Alpha 34, they did their best to drag Hotshot Esports down, and let's see if that has paid off.
Of course,
course, there were some questions in the air. Will Fluxo make it? 106 points in total. Obviously, it's not the most up there at the top of the leaderboard. Fun fact, last year they got 102 points and they scraped through at the 12th spot. So it's a little bit better. But either way, it looks like they are going to be making it through. Of course, it's going to take a mountain of effort from any of the teams currently in the bottom six to oust Fluxo from their fourth spot. 106 points is quite tough to reach because if you look at Virtus Pro, down in the 13th place, they've only got 52 points. So quite a journey for them to climb up. And we got to also remember they're going up against the other teams from Group A and C. Obviously, they're going to be picking up those points as well. So it's not as straightforward. Every single game, these teams need to be in that final circle. Speaking of final circle, Red Hawks, if they want to stand a chance, they need to be in every single final circle with a minimum of 5 to 7 eliminations. And dude, that's tough, man. They only performed for 3 games on their first day of play.
Yeah, exactly. And that's how brutal this format is. You only get 2 play days in the knockout stage. Every single round that you kind of give away to your opponents, you need to make up for it twice as hard. And I think for Red Hawks, I agree with the calculation. We kind of went over the numbers behind the scenes, but I gotta add another caveat today. I think a booyah is necessary for Red Hawks, right? Just in case, just as an insurance policy as we head into game number 1. Again, the final 6 rounds before we find out which 12 teams will make it through. We're heading over to Bermuda once more, and for fans out there, you can rest assured that this flight path is very, very generous, straight down the middle.
Absolutely, and of course it's going to be fair and easy. EVOS Esports, though, they're the group stage leaders with 154 points at the very top. Everybody thought it was going to be Core Memory sticking it at the very top, but of course beating them with those 4 points, and Rasia definitely faced it with a huge smile on his face. A majority of the eliminations pulled away by the Wonder Kid, and this was that fair flight path that we were talking about. Peak totally conquered by Buriram alone, and Dragon splitting up very early in the game. I don't feel good about this.
You know what I don't feel good about as well, AJ? VP and Red Hawks. They both just dropped in the same spot, and we see very early gunfights, and this is gonna be very bad for Red Hawks if they don't make out of this alive. Ideally, if you can somehow beat VP, that would be great. We've seen Red Hawks pull off miracle in the earlier rounds in day 1, but that's a day 1 thing, right? That's the thing. That's the unknown. But right now, I think VP have studied Red Hawks. They need to somehow make this work.
And of course, if the Bangladeshi players want to stand a chance here, they have to play the reversal here however possible. Plasma gun in the hands of Flicker. Shot up from up top. Great rotation by Fuwara. Has got the AUG in hand. Great range on the gun, and Flicker does not want to challenge it. But now all the players all together down on the ground. Fuwara with his head sticking out. This is danger zone, but he's managing the situation well.
Yeah. With very limited resources to work with, these movements are a lot more important. So Red Hawks go into a 3-1 split. They leave Flicker on the flank. Same as Virtus Pro, who have the same idea. So whoever can catch the flanker first is going to come out on top. With Team Diamond already going on the hunt. VP changing from 3-1 to a 2-2 split. Could go big first contact. Good damage being dealt. Fuwara getting down by Blade. And now Red Hawks bring into action. Nameless also goes down. A trade comes from the side of Diamond, but VP are losing numbers.
Beautifully played. The revival comes through in the nick of time by Diamond. And he's going to get sprayed down. What a save coming on through. Export is there with the double vectors as well. Great rate of fire. Damage not too much. But Red Hawks has got this in their pockets. 3 players taken out of the equation already. 1 more playing his chances up against 2. The M590 and the MP5. Exposing Riptide Rhythm to break down their defenses. But that's just asking for trouble early. Kutush finds the knock. And Virtus Pro off on the back foot. And Red Hawks picking up a very, very, very important win here at the start of this game.
Feels like deja vu from game number 1. Blade drops back in just in time to loot the rewards, the bounty that the rest of his teammates have laid out on the floor alongside the corpses of the Virtus Pro players. And I gotta say, Nurjat saved that fight because the rest of his teammates were down. Nurjat clutched it. Thankfully for VP, someone was revived. The run continues for the Polar Bears, but it's not gonna get any easier. Same can be said for Vision System because loss has to be the process.
Yeah, Vision System needs a miracle to qualify for Point Rush today, but they go up against one of the most dangerous teams out there in Brazil, and I dare say in the competition. But they are mowing them down. Unbelievable stuff. Rigby 245. Final player in here. squad picked up right quickly. And Vision System could not go in for the final blow, but they still outnumber the players of Lost. Only for the next few seconds, Rigby has got enough money to buy back his two other team members. But Vision System, timing is key here. And the guy that just got picked up mowed them down instantaneously. Lost with the instant recovery. F598 enough for you, boy. Rigby with the MP40 should be able to make quick work of Andres.
And suddenly, in a blink of an eye, Vision System Andres is forced to run away. He does have enough coins to get a revive. Ring around Rosie. Can he do this fast enough before they clear him out in round corner? And there is just not enough time. Vision System, they fall in the hands of Lost, and off-screen Virtus Pro gets wiped out.
Man had enough time to buy back the whole world. But a misclick for sure. Not even a single revival, and Vision System out. They were already at the very bottom of the leaderboard. I guess that is exactly where they will stay. Unfortunate for them, but what a start, and holy hell, what a recovery from Lost.
Yeah, recovery from Lost and Red Hawks, right? Both teams were at the back foot in their respective 4v4s, and both of them recovered. This is the start we expected from Lost, but this is the start we wanted for Red Hawks. And that difference, that contrast is what's going to make this a lot more interesting with how Red Hawks are rotating right now and Shipyard, but south of them it's going to be Team Falcons and Movie Star R7. That is going to be a challenge.
Ami tomake balobashi Bangladesh. This is exactly what we need out of the squad. But here comes another deadly predator up in the air. Falcons, they want to fight. Question is, does Red Hawks have enough in their arsenal to shut them down? Dragon, on the other hand, up against Buriram earlier on. And it looks like it was deadly strikes all around for Mochi, knocking down player after player after player, picking up those crucial points for Buriram.
About the state of Red Hawk, though. Falcons, they are very aggressive. You're not ready, they're going to tear you apart into pieces. It's going to be the case for the side of Red Hawks. Kutush also goes down, and suddenly Red Hawks have been sliced in half. But Movie Star R7, they hear the gunshots, they are here to fight the Falcons.
Well, Duke can play at that game face Movie Star R7. They want to be the movie stars here as well. One deadly predator out of the skies. Joker, BSK in hand. Great range for the gun, but fails to find any connection on those shots. They've got the players of Falcons flanked already. Peter, unfortunately for him, does not find any tags onto the player up top, but here comes one, and he is the clutch king of R7. Only got the shot in Games King, F590 in hand. Unfortunately, it is their own player that gets knocked down to the ground, and Falcon standing their ground.
Karoro just now broke his ankles, but they brought him back up. See the rotation from Della. Star player from yesterday, Joker finally pulled the trigger, and that's on fire down. Games King actually got Peter as well. Two members of Falcons down, they need the confirmation, and they get a Karoro now. High kills out of that. Highs behind the building. It's him and Limit, and a lot of members of Movie Star R7 that they need to surgically cut through, but this is not going to be easy.
Limit has got the right guns here, the ESK and the AWM in hand. He just needs the right opportunity, but he's also waiting for the rest of his team members to back away so that they can play that game of revival. He's buying the squad more time, and as he stays in it, looks like Movie Star R7 does not get in this situation. Opportunity to get those snipes as the players are up in the air. Can Limit hit it?
They do see Limit now. Finding spot now, 1v1 Limit with a flick. That's 2 shots in a row. Of course, Limit is the one that wins that one now. The free point for Team Falcons, number 5. But that is going to call to attention the rest of Movie Star R7. Around the Games King is going to be player number 2 to make contact right around the corner. Limit fights now on the Joker, but it's just not enough. Movie Star R7 finds their 4 point, but Team Falcons have bought enough time for Karoro to make a run.
That's a masterclass in distraction. That's a masterclass in buying your squad more time. But of course, Karoro, as he gets away, I believe he flew straight into the crosshairs of Red Hawks, so we'll have to wait and see if or not Falcons can stay alive a little bit longer. It looks like the jump pad has been invested in as Karoro finds a good exit out of there. Flicker does not get that shot, and Falcons will live to tell the tale a little bit longer here. Time and time again, we've seen this out of Falcons, almost wiped out at the start of the game, and they just make that huge comeback with the booyah at the end.
Yeah. And just to add on to that, that was exactly what happened on their very first game And day number 1. And the third game. So history could repeat itself. If you want to take out any sort of opponents, you gotta cut off the head of the snake. In this case, the head of the Falcons. As Dragons Esports make their rotation, wow, Kutus just got revived, and now will have to be revived again.
Yeah, man, Dragon off to a decent start here. First elimination, Squad on that full revival. Thankfully, Seabox was left standing, and he could bring the rest of the team members back in here. But RRQ, very stealthy, very quiet, picking up the most needed weapons. You see a double AWM setup in their hands here at Bermuda. It is going to be absolutely deadly, especially in the open grounds later on as this circle comes into a close, dragging all of the players towards the area of either Bhima Sakti or Clock Tower in a bit.
And RQ is a team that even they have said in an interview, always second, never first. In this case, for the side of AGAL, they've also have tasted that. But R7, they're fighting back. 2 down the side of AGAL. Not willing to let this go. He has a lot of memories, past memories on the international stage, and this is going to be one that he refuses to leave in regret. The rest of AGAL gets back up. Movie star R7 is forced to run.
Oh, what a damn backup that was, due with the instantaneous shot as he whipped out that AC-80. But now, Chinoy on the chase here. AC-80 in his hands. That Oscar, the Valiant Dash was just used. So he doesn't really have an option for a last-ditch effort for the defense. But thankfully, AGL does not want to stand by and play around with him. Hax has an opportunity to go for a revival, but the man's absolutely broke now.
Not just broke, he also does not have any medkits to work with. The blue is going to be the one that takes him out if this continues. So he's desperate to find any sort of resource, any sort of coins. It's going to be a race against time. As well as they actually picked up a member from Team Falcons earlier on. The Falcons now down to 2. Enough points on the side of On Fire. Peter gets brought back once more. Falcons still trying to recover.
Yeah, on the back foot here for Falcons. But, you know, it really matters not. Lost and Falcons both at the very top of the leaderboard. I think they can sleep the whole day and still qualify for Point Rush here. So this is just a warm-up game at the end of the day for the squad. Phenomenal performance on their day 1. On Fire, take it away. Number 9. Car from afar. Accurate shots, not wasting those bullets at all.
So Peter is actually in the middle of the circle. Falcons basically forced into just pure survival mode. It's no longer about fighting for points. It's about fighting to live long enough. Kunto, you surely see this, right? Karoro now has to fight that, and that's being used. Son! Baros had to ruin that 1v1.
Aye, what was that Valiant Dash? Did not find the connection with the glue walls. Tried to use him like a Tatsuya. Put himself in danger by turning his back onto his opponent. Easy knockdown. AGAL though, shooting distance. Karoro's going to be in a lot of trouble. Has the M590 to break down the glue wall, but Payne is going to be keeping AGAL a tad bit distracted here as you take that high ground position. He wants to flank around with those snipes. Question is, can the rest of them squeeze themselves in, because this circle is starting to hurt.
Double recovery being used early on. Baros trying to provide support fire alongside you as Motovia slowly falls behind, but unfortunately for the rest of Payne, they might have to force a contact as Peter gets dropped down into incredibly low. No enough as well. They do manage to heal back up, but still not finding any opening against AGAL. Baros now jumps in. Time Turner Cypher actually loses his fight, and now they're going to play footsies, but no one does it better than Nodas. AGAL ends up losing 2, and now Peter trying to fight. Taste that, Chinoy. 3 down for AGAL, and Payne survives.
And AGAL, one final survivor here, potentially straight into the hands of Dragons. R7 Della taken out of the equation. All thanks to Peter. And Movistar R7 out of the race in the 10th spot. Spain makes their way up towards that high ground. Dragons remaining silent, not wanting to play a little bit of a misstep here. Either way, when they play that rotation, they have to come across either Payne or put it up, and that's going to be most definitely painful for the Dragons.
And just going to say that Red Hawks are single-handedly contributing to the revival stats in the game. They have so much revived, but it's good for them, right? Still in the game, but the window is definitely closing as we now turn our attention to Dragons Esports finally making their way towards where the war zone is. Payne Gaming and Lost Rivals now fighting. RRQ also part of this conversation. Dude's getting a knock onto Rigby, but rescue will be here. Rigby should be fine.
Playing with the elevation, smartly done here by Lost. And the recovery is going to be instantaneous as well. They do tank a little bit of damage from the blue. That's not going to be too much, but they cannot shrug off. Problem is going to be still Peter here, looking for the gatekeep. And I do agree with you, man. Red Hawks, what a performance on the revival so far. We have asked for them to get into that final circle. That's exactly what they're trying for. Now get high, going rampage with the grenade launcher. F79 in hand, taking away one life. Adam down as well. Nejad has got the big guns in hand. Grenade launcher in the hands of Red Hawks is going to give them a huge advantage here.
The Red Hawks did lose Slicker thanks to RRQ, who decided to join in as party number 4. The BRU are the biggest winners out of this all. Most players can't even get to them where they are. Get high somehow, getting Blade as Loki wants to steal it but could not do so. Blade falls, Red Hawks down to just 2, and Oni will have to find a way out of this because Buriram have guarded all the main entrance.
And Dragons finding Nejad as well. Unfortunate for Red Hawks, but Pain Gaming makes the exit first in the 8th spot. Red Hawks with their final survivor left in here looking for the next zone and has found it already. Question is still going to be this. Kutush has enough because you get revived with those 2 blue walls and the P90. I believe that's all he has. Riptide Rhythm breaking down the defenses of Peter and the backstab. Loss is still in it as Falcons will falter in 7th.
Good shot from Ao to stop Haone, and now with Loss have to make a decision. Do you abandon him or do you bring him out? There's no saving Pride Haone in this game. Ao takes him out. Red Hawks eliminated in 6th place. RRQ finally showing their presence. Rigby has all his glue on being melted. RRQ just sprays them down. Taste lead in this, and Nandona cannot survive. Unfortunately for Lost, this is where it ends.
Yep, they lost that one up against the Indonesians who were desperate for a booyah for themselves. But the surprising ones are the team from EMEA. Dragons Esports, 7 eliminations strong, looking for that final circle in the top 3. This is what we need. This is the kind of improvement we wanted out of Red Hawks. But we'll have to wait for the rest of the game from the day. For the time being, it's the silence play, and Dragons will find the circle, but they also find Buriram running out there.
And Buriram will take initiative. Actually, a decent trade at the very start, but Dragons quickly overwhelmed as Duz decides that he also wants a piece of the pie. Maybe RQ's intervention will be enough for the Indonesians to start the day out with the Booyah. Kiba ends up going down, get high, still around, but it's him and Moshi. Can they pull this off? A 2v3, Moshi in the red and get high, desperately trying to hang on. They just cannot pull it off. A 5 brings RRQ to a Booyah in game 1.
RRQ with their very first booyah here at EWC 25. And you cannot ask for anything better. They start the day off from the 12th spot, and obviously they're going to be getting those points. One of the best Indonesian squads. Some may argue the best, of course. They could not get to the championship this time on FFWSC because Onyx snuck that one away, but they're most definitely going to hit the big numbers here.
Some people forget that RRQ placed 2nd in the recent championship, and that's why they always say, why are they always 2nd? Why never 1st, right? You look back at the track record of RRQ, they are always in the top spot, but when it matters the most, RRQ falls short. And this is a story of redemption. A team that built a legacy, that set the benchmark for the Indonesian region, now have bred new blood that overtook them locally, but they also kind of missed the feeling that when they were still at the top.
Yeah, the 2nd spot curse also infecting their brothers from Indonesia. We saw EVOS Esports last year at EWC 24. They did so well, but of course Falcons beat them to the championship. They walked away with the 2nd spot. That was very impressive, and they have not dropped their momentum at all. They've kept that going, and now with the acquisition of the Wonder Kid, they look absolutely dangerous. They ended yesterday at the very top of the leaderboard, and now they are the squad to beat. But of course, we're going to be taking a quick short break here. When we come back, it's going to be Purgatory time, baby.
Lihat nih. Gua pasang glue wall, gua lempar bom, terus musuhnya rata. Gimana tuh? Lu udah nunjukin ini ke kita 7 kali. Tapi setiap gua tunjukin ini keren kan? Perang. Nggak bisa. Gua sekarang. Knock. 3 lagi. Gorong. Ini dorong nih. Terus sekarang. Gua setting. Mana? Naikin baik. Di gua nih. Karat, oi. Di gua. Masih di gua. Tahan. Main gua. Karat. Santai guys. Dude.
RRQ may have started a little bit slow here at EWC 25. They kick things off with day 3 with their very first booyah on Bermuda. And Indonesian fans, I can imagine they are cheering for them at home, in the chat, anywhere that they are, because RRQ, maybe today's the day that they finally come back, because to be honest, they were very, very quiet for their first play day. Gideon, I'm going to have to start with you here. What was the major factor that actually brought RRQ back into EWC?
I think for one, I'm pretty sure that the audience in the arena itself, if you've ever heard of it, RRQ, no matter where they are, it's always home soil, it's always home ground. The kingdom always provides for them, especially with the fans. But in terms of the in-game, we've seen two sides of an interesting story, right? The proactivity within the game, when we're looking at the match rankings, right? Notice how majorities of these teams aren't reaching into the double digits because fights are not only concluding extremely quick, but only very few squads like Dragons are able to actually recover from the initial first impacts, and then all teams, majority of them playing on the outside, unless you're BRU or RRQ, who took their time to show presence later in the game.
And now looking at the rankings, I'm surprised as well that Lost is in there, because earlier when they went against Vision System, they were almost out. Only 2 remained, and then as quickly as that, just wiped out Vision System, and they are back in play, taking that number 4 spot.
I mean, there wasn't even a good idea from Vision because, they are kind of struggling in the tournament. So they can, try to fight against like one of the favorites to win the title, So it was not like a good idea at all. So I think it's better for them if they avoid this type of fights,
Yeah, high risk, but high reward, right? Sometimes you kind of have to take those risks if you want to keep your spot here at EWC 25. But it's pretty interesting that already right off the bat, we're seeing a very, very quick pace, right? The first 2 days, I kind of feel like the teams, they were kind of going fast as well, but it wasn't to the degree where everyone was kind of waiting for that third circle to make their move. It was from the get-go, you see people, you smell that blood, they're in your sights.
It's extremely evident when we do see Falcons taking the initiative to go, again, proactively looking outside of the ring to fight a squad. They end up winning the fight, especially against Dragons. And then, Red Hawks, and all of a sudden R7 decides to get involved in these fights, right? And this was happening all across the map, from north side to the southern side. And once we get to that third ring, I think that's when people started to realize, oh boy, this is going to be a pretty deadly match. A majority of people have lost a couple of fingers walking into the ring.
Speaking of deadly, you did mention it's always back-to-back engagement all throughout that map, but towards the 12-minute mark, we still have 10 teams remaining, and we seldom see that in competition here. Probably in the regional, yes, it is possible, but it starts slow. But this didn't start slow. It's just from the drop, they're always engaging, and quite surprising why there's still a lot of teams left.
Well, and I want to add about the fight of
so much, thus all of the top damage that has been dealt right here being shown. And
for an example, which I'm extremely impressed by. I thought it was almost done for them. They managed to recover, they managed to re-equip, and they also managed to get into what, in this case, the final circle, which is only the 6th ring.
Okay, I want to play with the idea because we saw Buriram having one of the highest eliminations and damage. What if they're struggling to get those eliminations? Like, they're the ones starting the fights, but everyone else is coming in, they're vulturing, they're stealing away those kills. Like, they can't play the game that they want to play. Like, is this maybe a warning sign that Buriram, though they might be feeling pretty confident coming into their second play day, maybe things are just not panning out for them yet?
I refuse to believe it. I think they're just that good.
Yeah, I mean, we know for a fact Buriram United doesn't start their fight towards the 15-minute mark or close to that. And at that point, they had no choice. So they put in so much of damage, so put in a few elimination, even if they don't finish them up.
Right, it looks like we're ready to fly into Purgatory Survivors, so let's fly into match number 2 with Husky and AJ.
Purgatory time, baby! And it was a phenomenal booyah from Indonesia, courtesy of RRQ. But of course, seeing EMEA up at the top, seeing the Dragons breathe fire, that's exactly what we want to see out of the squads who are struggling to get into the top 12. But even if they do break into the top 12 right after this, the story would not be over just yet, because down at the bottom 6, all the teams at this point in time are from Group A and C who are in play today. So you have to keep this performance up game after game, Husky.
And I think this really puts into perspective how teams like Virtus Pro, for example, right, has had a very weird knockout stage experience so far. They have the highest highs, but they also have the lowest lows. I guess you could compare them to Fluxo. The only difference being that at least Fluxo has a more even average throughout until the end of the last 3 rounds of yesterday. Another generous flight path, you know, we've been a lot more kinder to these 2 groups in Purgatory, right down the middle once more towards the northeastern side. And Virtus Pro at least this time gets to head to Moat House.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And of course, they are not going to be disturbed for the time being. Diamond, one of their key players, has to pop off the M590, perhaps not having the Tatsuya on their side with the brand new addition. The updates on the OB49 has most definitely affected the pacing of Virtus Pro, but everybody had to go through the exact same changes. They just need to adapt a tad bit better. We see the very first circle coming on through here, and it looks like gonna get the final circle somewhere towards Elon and Brasilia later on, but for the time being, Vision System starting off on up against Onyx, the champions of Southeast Asia.
The moment you say that, Onyx turns it around and gets a couple of bodies for themselves, in fact almost wiping out the entire bloodline of PSG this game. Thankfully, Vision System, they do have a survivor. Shix already ran away, but that was as close as it could have gotten. Onyx ended up losing 2 bodies as well, but Zyro instantly gets a revive onto Prime. And also you look at the radar, Falcons, day 1 when they did a split, it was a 3-1, 3-5 brigade, 1 a lumber mill. Now today, they dropped all 4 and 5 brigade before splitting up to lumber mill. They understood that RRQ, they also share that island.
Absolutely, just kind of playing it safe, just in case RRQ decides to go a little bit crazy, perhaps drop slightly closer towards 5 brigade. But thankfully, none of that happened. And both the squads still alive and kicking, free to loot up as much as they want. Got a little bit of a airdrop here for Keeper to pick up those medkits and blue balls from as well. But of course, the great big question is going to be, do we see Buriram buff into R7? Movistar R7 dangerously close to Marvel Works.
It's a good time to also talk about Kiba's history. Previously with Onyx, it was a big part of Onyx. In fact, last year he attended EWC for Free Fire 24 with that squad, and they had a very underwhelming performance. And right now they're on the other side of the aisle. In fact, even yesterday, Onyx tried to mess up RQ's momentum for Booyah, and they ended up, it was RQ, it was a Movistar R7 that pulled through. We get a ping with the Arvon that could be courtesy of BRU as they are heading towards Crossroad, but they will run into Movistar R7.
Yep, now Buriram trying their best to get away here. Movistar R7 definitely in shooting range, and Della is the first player to be found. This is not good for business. Jonah also finding the tags onto Adam, gets the elimination as well, fighting 2 squads at the same time. Not the best idea here, but Buriram has no choice. Hax runs on in, finds the sniper of Buriram. The rest of them leave him.
but
good play.
backup of BRU was
just too fast. So Arkham being Moshi,
and they keep the run.
Scouts for the M. No cover for him whatsoever. Fujin left all alone. M590 for the win, but Virtus Pro unable to undo the pain Esports delivered.
And that one is going to hurt. 2 rounds in a row.
Virtus Pro got virtually nothing. They're gonna end this round with 55 points, and that is still quite far away from a qualification into point right. They will have to talk about this. They saw 4 rounds.
Gets a rematch against BRU right here at the Arsenal. But BRU, they do have someone positioned inside the compound. It's going to be Jonah, and Adam sees this. But what is Oni going to do?
Oshi on the flank, looking for Crime. AC-80 in the hands of Crime. He just needs that double shot.
দেখছস তুই অনেক কামটা করলে দেখছ পুরো বুড়িরামে পুরো টিমটা খাইয়া দিল বুড়িরামে পুরো টিমটা খাইয়া দিল ভাই লাস্ট টাইম ভাই মারলে লাস্ট প্লেয়ার
অ্যাপ্রোচ করেছেন ফাইটের জন্য M79 রয়েছে টস করা হচ্ছে এই জায়গায় আছে আরএসকে কিন্তু দুইটা প্লেয়ার হারাইছে আপনি গুড চেক করেন
I gotta stake my allegiance. I gotta stake my allegiance.
Yeah.
I agree with what one of the panelists said just now. I agree with Gideon. I think, BRU, we all collectively have unanimously said that this is the only team that every single time they don't show up in a round, we say that they're saving stress. But I disagree. I think at this point it's fair to say that BRU teams are catching up to them, right?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think
at this point of time, it's not that it's yes, the other teams are catching up, but also the meta has been messing with Buriram for a
long time. Wasana used to be known as the deadliest hard hitter out there. First we took his Krogon away, then we took his Tatsuya away. How much more will we torture this boy Wasana?
I don't know, Brazil has won 2 years in a row. It's about time we get something back, right? They were the reason, I hope they were the reason Skylar got back into the meta, and now Holmes is bumped. Intel gatherers have all been bumped. See Falcon up against RQ. Abe actually took a shot in the face. Take a look at a bit of a highlight. Good engagement earlier on, but we're going to keep our attention on what matters for Falcon. They're actually taking down members of RQ.
Yep, finding the first one, but RRQ has got decent enough distance between themselves as well as Falcon to hightail it out of here.
দুইটা টিম কিন্তু এলিমিনেট হয়ে গেছে বিআরইউ আর হচ্ছে ভিপি সরি গাইস ভিপি এই দুটো কিন্তু টিম ওয়াইবে উঠে গেছে এটা আরএসকের জন্য খুবই ভালো একটা দিক উপরের টিমগুলো যদি তাড়াতাড়ি মরে যায় তাহলে কিন্তু আরএসকের উপরে ওঠার চান্স বেশি আর কি
on the bike, making a lot of noise, but thankfully nobody around them to find the Punisher with the spikes.
Funny enough, there is a UAV hovering on top of them, and we saw a loot drop as well, an airdrop. They are going to be right smack in the middle of 2 teams from Dragon Esports. Vision Systems swapping that 3 teams of AL are around the corner. That is a big picture of the AWM Gyro making his presence known. Pain Gaming in the far horizon, but I think Onyx are also in a very safe spot. If they go down southwards to get the circle, they are going to eventually run into Pain Gaming, with the exception that I think Pain Gaming do have a bit of elevation to work with.
Consistency out of Brazil has been phenomenal thus far. Pain Gaming just one of those top performers, one Booyah in the bag, and they don't look like they're about to slow down. 87 points in total in their pockets.
LOS টিমটাতে কিন্তু গাইজ 117 পয়েন্ট 6টা কিল করছে আর ফ্যালকন কিন্তু গাইজ 110 পয়েন্ট নিয়ে 2টা কিল করছে এখন PIN এই টিমটা কিন্তু গাইজ 6টা কিল করছে
counting. So RQ, they even though have the full squad still in the game, they have been getting picked off left, right, and center. So Pain Gaming makes that rotation. Onyx most likely will end up dodging them and having elevation once they get to where Pain Gaming are. There is a choice that Pain Gaming could make, right? Take the zip line down to
the next location, close to a vending machine, but far away enough from the rest of the team.
This next circle is going to be crucial. Teams all spread out on the map. Moving west side thus far.
জোনের মধ্যে একটা প্লেয়ার আর
Usually the
জোনের
game
বাইরে
does
কিন্তু
throw
তিনটা
us
প্লেয়ার
off a tad bit.
তারা হয়তোবা জোনের সাথে সাথে ধরে ধরে উঠতেছে দেখা যাক কি হয় এই ম্যাচটাতে
Pain Gaming has to deal with Onyx whether they like it or not. Just on the outskirts of Brasilia, the circle finds
এটা বুইয়া নেবে এই ম্যাচটা বুইয়া নেবে কিন্তু
vision system in there as well. I don't know what kind of miracle they can pull off here.
দ্বিতীয় নাম্বার ম্যাচ
Don't
চলতেছে
have enough points in the back.
আরএসকে কিন্তু স্টিল চারটা পিলারে অ্যালাইভ আছে
Alpha that reported yesterday. The early encounter between RRQ and Lost, where we saw on the feed itself, Lost getting 2 pickoffs in a row. How are they dealing some critical damage to RRQ at this stage of the game? Okay, they got the full revive, but at this point we are more than 10 minutes in. Falcons now arrived, and Kiba, he's not even ready for this. He realized that 3 people shot his back behind him. He backstabbed at the 3-point.
That poor boy just got revived, had P90 in hand, just 2 glue walls, refused to use it. Could have used it, but now Red Hawks on the edge. Can you go up against one of the most lethal Brazilian squads out there? Glue wall melters all laid out, but Flicker, the flank just not working. Riptide with the breakdown, absolutely nothing is lost. Pulls the long flank around the right-hand side, down towards the lower ground. Red Hawks pulling a very quick trick here as they fake a lower ground rotation, but they stay up towards the top. Lost not falling for that.
Jig is up though. Aone sees Flicker. He knows what Flicker wants to do. So starts it off with Glue Wall Melter. Take out that cover to force Flicker deeper into the battle. They want Red Hawks to fight honest, not dirty from long range. And that's where Lost thrives the most. Rigby, Raja mentioned multiple times, top 3 Russia of Brazil. If they can funnel Red Hawks into the gun barrels of Rigby, it will be beneficial for Lost. Nando Nai got a top ground cover and Lost in an advantageous spot.
Yeah, good news. Fingers crossed he's got that. Super dead in his hand. Nando 9 taken out of the equation. Great play by Blade. But now here comes the reversal as well. As around 5 Kutush. Laid down on the ground as well. Revenge is sweet and pretty instant. And Red Hawks will falter in the hands of Lost.
Lost came in prepared. That was exactly what they wanted to achieve. In the meantime, even off screen, you see Duels just got knocked by Vision System. Lost did have to pay a bit of price for that. One member being eliminated out of the equation, but small price to pay. Peter getting literally ran down and charged right through. On fire now, trying to redeem it. Joker actually getting tagged from behind. Limit finding Della as movie star R7 takes the rap of Falcon.
Yeah, without Della, question is how can they play this game of survival? Game stick back in a way, play it down, and Hack has no choice, and a double snipe by Limit will put them in the bag. On fire with the support gameplay as well. AGAL making their approach here.
they can do. So hopefully they will be able to chase that number.
All right, we are getting ready for our next matchup, folks. But before that, though, we do have our SMB head-to-head with Gideon. Let's head on over to the main stage. What's up, Gideon?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SMB head-to-head here at the Free Fire EWC World Cup Arena. And this is exciting because with us right now, we have the Falcons fans loud and proud over on that side. We have the teams rallying for each other, but we have to do our jobs. Right now, I am glazing DRG. They're doing incredible. It is halfway, or almost halfway through day number 1 right now, and they are just ruining so many hopes and dreams of so many big teams.
I mean, you say ruining the hopes and dreams if we're talking about a team who came all the way to Riyadh. Can we give it up for some of the Red Hawk fans? Give it up for them. They flew all the way in to show some support. Wherever you're from, if you're from Bangladesh, give them your energy today because this is the most important round. They're going to be looking to get as many points as possible, and based on what we start, but they can do even better. And with these fans in the arena, they can only do the best. Let's throw it off to our casters. It's map number 3. We're gonna catch you right after this.
Guys, এখানে কিন্তু বাংলাদেশের নাম বলতে কিন্তু
It's time to head into map number 3. Here we go. Dragons Esports Red Hawks fans flew into Riyadh just to watch them play. But this could be the breaking point, especially for the Red Hawks. But just now we saw a scary sight, AJ. We saw that Hotshot is already down in 11th spot. Dragon Esports have a hell of a good chance of making it if their run continues in this manner.
I honestly thought you were going to say Tash Bunny, but okay. I know exactly where you're coming from. This is danger zone for sure.
Guys,
obviously, we have to say goodbye to one squad, Alpha 34. We already knew that they stood no chance, but Hotshots getting pushed down. Pakistan can't do anything about that as well. Out of Group B, not a single booyah on their side. 87 points. The bar to exceed is pretty low. But the question still remains, can the teams actually oust Fluxo from their number 6 spot with 106 points in hand? They look pretty solid up there.
Yeah, they do. I think right now, if you are looking at just the standings alone, right? I feel like Dragon Esports, they should be very, very proud of what they achieved. I think the fans from Bangladesh should be very proud of this debut appearance on an international tournament and at EWC of all things. I would not be able to handle the nerves, but here they are, 2 positions away to make it into top 12, and all they gotta do from that point onwards is to maintain it.
Yeah, I mean, Red Hawks obviously need to hustle quite a little bit before they a lot that could happen. We just saw a miracle in front of us. Vision system out of nowhere pulling off a massive game, and that's exactly what Red Hawks need to aim for. The safe plays are not going to cut it anymore. They are on the chopping block. If they don't go crazy, if they don't get aggressive looking for these important points, they are not going to stand a chance. Playing safe and just sneaking into the final circle is not going to cut it as a strategy for Red Hawks anymore. That could have been a strategy from the very start of the competition, but too many of those opportunities have been let go already, and they're not the only ones in trouble. Virtus Pro, did you ever imagine a day that we would see them at the bottom 6?
Definitely not. I think Virtus Pro, they really need to buck up, right? They got 4 more rounds. There's still opportunities, but cannot make any more mistakes from this point onwards. But before we jump into Kalahari for map number 3, we actually talked to Pain Gaming, so let's listen to what they have to say.
এটাই কিন্তু সেই চ্যাম্পিয়ন ট্রফিটা।
Hi everyone, it's Yunso and welcome to my interview with the Pain Gaming. So into our first questions, how do you guys feel after have taken a rest from the game and today coming with the group A and Group C with very top performance teams? Then how do you feel right now?
Same thing depois. Sorry. Como vocês se sentem depois de ter esse dia de folga e agora jogar novamente com o próximo grupo?
É bem tranquilo, porque a gente já jogou o primeiro dia já. A gente já tem uma noção do que fazer no terceiro dia, porque é muito bom jogar o último dia para sempre ter uma vantagem de pontos.
He said that they are confident and they are okay with that, and playing the third day, the last day, is always good because they know they saw all the other teams and everything, so they are fine with that.
Good, that is a great spirit that I love to hear. So what about loss? How do they feel about losses? Yesterday loss was very high.
Ela perguntou como vocês se sentem agora com a Luz, né, que foi muito bem ontem e tudo mais, como tá pra vocês esse sentimento?
Bom, é sempre muito bom times brasileiros desempenhando bem e, querendo ou não, nossa meta é ser o melhor time brasileiro e ser o melhor time da competição e ter essa disputa saudável com eles, né? Tentar passar eles hoje.
He said that for us, with the Brazilian teams going well, we are so happy for them, but we want to be the best team on Brazil and win the championship. So they are happy for them, but we'll beat them today.
I understand. So last questions to end our story here. What are you guys expecting the most for today's games?
O que vocês esperam de hoje, dos jogos de hoje e tudo mais?
A gente espera um jogo mais agressivo, um jogo também que a gente tá visando tirar algumas equipes para a final. E é isso, é um jogo mais agressivo que a gente precisa buscar fazer pelo menos aqueles 30 pontos. Tá um jogo mais calmo para nossa equipe e algumas equipes precisam pontuar, principalmente a equipe da Ásia.
And our coach says that we need to be more aggressive today, and we need to make at least 30 points. So we are looking for this aggressive game today, and we know that some teams need to make some points too, and we are here to beat them.
All right, I think it's enough for today, and of course, today's game is going to be the last day of a knockout stage, so everything is going to be very intense because we only have 12 slots to go into the finals. Let's keep support for our team. Of course, support the best Brazilian fans. Support for your favorite team. Here I have with Pain Gaming. Good luck to you guys all today. Fighting!
Pain Gaming ready to deliver the worst to their opponents to keep their spot here in the top 12. At this point of time, they've got 101 points in the bag. That should be good enough, but I'm very sure they want a few more.
Yeah, I like how the coach was managing expectations. I want them to get 30 points. Yeah, come on, you can get 30 points in one game. And fun fact, Pain Gaming actually in the completing tournaments right after the FFWS Brazil in the earlier season, they actually took out teams like Lost and Fluxo. Oh yeah. So there is a storyline right now that we are getting closer to its conclusion, where there's a universe. We make it to Point Rush. If Fluxo doesn't make it, it means that the other two teams that have bested them and put them second will be there. Pain and Lost. Can you believe it?
Out in the open, finds an airdrop. Bit of a lady luck thing.
Fortune smiles upon the bold. Pain Gaming so far have really been tearing it up.
Well, this next circle should give us a rough idea as to how the movements of the squads will go. Circle 1 still pretty balanced in the middle, just moving down south side a tad bit more. Redhawks, the read is pretty accurate from a lot of these squads, but Redhawks getting into a little bit of a tussle here. A command post, not the best of things to happen to the squad that needs a miracle in terms of points. And Nijat could not get away. Climb, dropping down like the god of death with the M590 delivers exactly that.
I felt like Redhawks made the wrong read. Right, this command post is an Onyx place to be at. They made the rotation straight in. And now Onyx are going to chase down as much Redhawk members as they can. Kutush will be the first point of contact. Tucks away to the sub. There is a chance for them to lead Onyx into Pain Gaming, but if you are Redhawks, you cannot be in a position where you are just running for your lives. In this case, they don't really have a choice. Kutush puts up this blue wall, but it's only a matter of time before Noki flashes through that, and Kutush will just have to fight for his life. Doesn't have the help on to do so. 3 points for Onyx.
I had the right gun, just did not have the right timing there. That plasma gun had enough bullets in the mag to continue spraying on for days. It just didn't help the fact that the assault rifles are now doing more damage to those glue walls. Glue wall melters are very useful, but the assault rifles will bring them down in no time as well.
Zyro actually making a rotation down to the southeastern side and run straight into BRU. So that's going to be some information given over to the team. Instant revive for Onyx. Nothing much was lost in the process. Zyro opts to drop back to command post, even using the binoculars. So we turn our attention to Mammoth. That's where Redhawks escape to. They will be near Pain Gaming as Movistar R7 takes on Falcons.
Great recovery here for Redhawks. The double revival still keep them in play. R7, oh, Riptide Rhythm's gonna block him. The chrono popped instantaneously. Doesn't take any damage whatsoever on fire. Backs away to the rest of his team members as Della is found. Peter with the aggression on fire though. Misses by a single second. Circles around, finds another window. Calls for backup to Kororo as well. Electrotherapy on play, but it's not enough. On fire though, keeps the squad in play. On the drop of the M590. And the pickup is not too troublesome at all. Falcons making quick work of Movistar.
Yeah. Game King's try, he really did. Joker was able to run away to confinement. There is a vending machine there. They should have the coins to get a revive going, but AGAL is not doing that well. Cypher and Barrow is removed from the equation as well now. So then they actually, a bit of a ricochet, Dew able to jump away. Can they pluck him out of the sky? Dew is going to land, but General and Haone is on the case, trying to go for a swim. That first one is going to miss. Shooting fish in the barrel, Dew makes it to dry land while Los continues the pursuit.
Good double glue wall and Dew sends the response. He's got the M82P. Riptide Rhythm breaks down the defense. One more shot required and Dew missing the final opportunity. Haone stepping on out. Dew taking on 2 players at the same time, but not enough glue walls to keep him safe for long. Dew finally is sacrificed, but bought the squad enough time so the rest of them could get away.
Saved by a tree, General. Ducking behind nature to keep himself in the running. Dew going down puts AGL and once more another precarious position. Sure, the revives come true, but they've lost big weaponry. Vision System, the second place finisher in the previous round, now finds themselves head to head with Dragons Esports. The two teams that both get in and task venture early on in the head to head.
Dragons not too far away from the top 12, but once again the teams that they're going up against here in the bottom 6 are mostly from groups A and C who are in play today. Alpha 34, the one squad that can't do much about their position. Hot shots as well, so 2 spots guaranteed. In order to make more, they need to push Fluxo out of the leaderboard here as well, and that is a massive amount of points. Vision System, I wonder if this miracle play can continue for them though.
It's getting looking more and more possible for sure.
Yeah.
But the consequences of that would be pushing up Fluxo means that Hotshot is guaranteed to not qualify.
সাবস্ক্রাইব করে দাও, লাইক করে দাও, বেশি বেশি করে লাইক করে দাও আর শেয়ার করতে ভুলবে না, বেশি বেশি করে শেয়ার করো, সবার কাছে শেয়ার করে দাও।
Too close to the bottom of the leaderboard, and the rest of the teams don't really need all that too much. For example, Dragons.
যারা চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করোনি তারা অবশ্যই চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করে দাও আর ভিডিওতে লাইক করতে ভুলবা না আর বেশি বেশি করে শেয়ার করো, সবার কাছে শেয়ার করে দাও, শেয়ার করো।
It's not a lot. I mean, Dragons in the previous game, massive stuff, getting to that final circle. 6 eliminations. It's going to be more than good enough for them. They just need to do that, and they've got 4 chances to do so, right? So, I'm hoping India gets a shot here at Point Rush. Doesn't matter what they pull away from the grand finals. Seeing them there at Point Rush and grand finals itself is going to be absolutely fantastic.
And he gives them a chance to win the whole thing with the Champion Rush format. We've seen that happen firsthand with Onyx.
Yeah.
Not to take anything away from Onyx, they definitely are doing slightly better than they did in their first day of match.
সবাই
think
লাইক করো,
it's
সবাই
also
লাইক
fair to say
করো
that if Dragons
এবং
make
কি
it
সবাই
through,
শেয়ার
this
করে
is
দাও,
going to be
সবাই
the
শেয়ার
first
করে দাও।
time in the grand final setting we have someone from a less mentioned region.
Yeah.
That will be historical.
Absolutely. I mean, they are pretty much the favorites at this point of time for many of them in Saudi Arabia. Can you imagine after this competition, Dragons Esports finds themselves a little bit of a bigger sponsor, maybe one that has got a hub here at the Boulevard itself.
We've seen Twisted Minds pick up the roster of the current Virtus Pro last year. Right, not the greatest run, but it is a possibility.
Falcons may be taken already by the squad that we see in front of us, but Twisted Minds still waiting for a team to be worthy so they can pick one up against King. Walking away, Movistar R7 in a lot of trouble. Limit.
Oh my god, guys.
PSS in hand.
Oh my god, guys.
This is out the M590.
Oh my god.
Why Riptide Rhythm does
Oh my god.
going 2 for 2 there.
2 for nil. So much commitment from the side of Movistar R7. You can't blame them. They needed to stay in the round, and they know that they have to play distraction. So that Tony Leon is going to carry on the legacy of R7 in this round. But for Team Falcons, they've definitely found their mojo. 7 eliminations and counting. And Confide have plenty of time to loot things up. The loop is closing in, but it doesn't really affect Falcons too much just yet.
Limit is super rich at this point of time. He has 900 coins in his pocket. Falcons are coin rich in case anything does go south for the squad. Finding a recovery isn't going to be that big of a problem, but finding a recovery on a map like Kalahari late game is going to be a massive issue for sure. So Falcons need to stop flirting around outside the safe zone and make it into the circle. But when they get to Bayfront, they should bump into R7 once again. RRQ on the other hand,
sneaking around, just making good use of the lower ground. And this is a smart play from RRQ. They're anticipating for the circle to land somewhere around here, and the final circle to get to the spot where RRQ is at. The probability is extremely high.
And I do wonder what is going to be RQ's next move, right? We saw a couple of binoculars. RQ got scanned out, Red Horse got scanned out, and now a third one on the map that we're seeing. Dragons Esports also got spotted out. Onyx just flew in. AGAL though will be the ones that we're focusing on. Paying gaming against them, and sadly Barros didn't really get a chance to fight back. He tried to be the hero early on, and this time he will just be a past memory. Paying gaming finding 2 easy pickoffs, and AGAL, I feel like we've seen the storyline before. He picks himself back up, but Dio puts on the portal, tries to go for the bumper, couldn't make it in time.
He really tried, but he just could not escape on Tobia.
Yeah, no glue wall there to make a miraculous play happen for himself. A tad bit unfortunate. Had the horizon line in hand. We were about to see a miracle play courtesy of Dio. One of the best snipers in the past. Just hasn't been hitting those sharp shots recently.
That would free up the path for rotation for Pain. They are pretty deep out into the circle. And then a scan for the binoculars early on reveals where Red Hawk is. I feel like I could say it could be from Pain, because that's the most direct path into the circle. If you try to circle around the northern side, then cross the refinery, it's going to take too long with the siren blaring.
Surely on the move,
looking for Russia's #1 spot in terms of being the deadliest guy out there on the battlefield. Not too far away from getting that done. Vision system from up top. Beautiful knock onto Joker. That's not going to be enough to stop the pace of the squad. For the time being though, nobody else has got the elevation to deal with Vision system. But a couple of hook guns and a couple of jumps later, Vision system is going to be in a lot of trouble. But for the time being, the circle looks for them. Great positioning from the squad.
The biggest winner right now on the map is actually Lost. They are uncontested, coming in from the northern side. And they can get a free entry if they want.
Yeah.
But for the rest of the team, it's about to get incredibly bloody. We are almost 12 minutes in, and we still have 11 full squad. And to fight at the eastern side of the refinery, a couple of structures, high-rise structures, but plenty of open ground.
We also spotted Lost using the binoculars, managing to scan out 4 players on the side of Movistar R7. So they do know that if they make a straight beeline for the safe zone here, they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. But all thanks to the elevation that Kalahari presents, they play the cliffs to their advantage. They maintain cover as they approach the other squads. Buriram on the other hand, one might expect them to break a leg with that ball, but again, thanks to the hook gun, which is pretty much cheap and available for everyone. Moshi allowing Neja to get away. Boom James chipping in as well. Wasana finding Exposi. Virtus Pro back away. Buriram says.
This is just again showing us how experienced BRU play are. That decision to take fire was so quick and decisive.
Oh my god,
landing those initial shots. That is what's gonna make the difference in these crucial moments. BRU now rotates forward. They're gonna make a bit of detour towards the western side of the map. Try to cut through from that compound, from that area. But he will put them in the crosshairs. Okay, gaming in RQ.
Buriram has not looked dangerous in a while. Waiting for the prime time to strike, and I wonder when that would be. Onyx, the only team eliminated thus far, and Red Hawks are very close to the exact same fate. But Mochi, Wasana, both going down. Pain Gaming delivering the hurt. Motovia with the sharp shots from across. Get High desperately hanging on. Has got the M79. Needs another grenade to wreck the chances of Peter here.
Yeah, Jonah is going to try and help, but Get High is already been knocked down by Noda. And BRU once more collapsing in the hands of Pain Gaming. As they pay the price of 2 members, but at least they're still in it to win it.
Unbelievable stuff. Buriram in the 9th spot. There's a high probability they get eliminated if they keep up this slow pacing for themselves. If we don't see an aggressive version of Buriram, they are probably not going to be at point rush. But look at Lost circling on in. Falcons in trouble. They see the team wide open. Grenade after grenade. Halalal.
Oh my god, guys, RSK কিন্তু একদম এলিমিনেট হয়ে গেল। RSK দের মেরে দিয়েছে।
Right when they found them.
Caught completely unaware and given a shallow burial by Loss. The Brazilian champions once more showing us the aggressiveness.
Falcon guys, Falcon কিন্তু চলে গেছে। Falconটা মরে গেছে কিন্তু guys। Falconটা মরে গেছে। Oh my god, আরেকটা টিম কিন্তু মরে গেছে guys।
We take down, we eliminate, and we win, and that is how they won the domestic championship. Finished 4th last year on the stage, 3 out of 4 of them, and right now they're about to make that point once more. Motovia finding Ma'al from up top, VSE with the steal.
Unbelievable stuff out of the Brazilian squads this time round. They all want blood and they find those points behind those shots. Movistar R7 in a decent spot. Duns wants revenge. Forced back by the circle. Can't go in there for the extra point. Will focus on their own placement first. Loss on the other hand with a quick position. And this is absolutely smooth from the squad. Pain Gaming on the other hand loses Monovia and gets taken out in 7.
And Lost puts themselves in the circle too. They have EP and Dragon Esports to do it, but as long as they take care of teams like Movistar R7, they can stand there forever because Dragon Esports are also preoccupied. Like shooting free target, in point and counting.
Again! Rahone is going to finish this off all with the grenade launcher.
Seafolk does get a trade onto Rigby, but again, you need confirmation. Rigby ends up going down. Lost at 16, 17. Rampage for Haone, 7 under his belt. The aggression for Yasir, he takes the fight straight to Lost to take a gamble, but it did not pay off. The dice was rolled, but it was Lost that comes out on top. Booyah! Once more, 3 for Lost.
3 for Lost, and the boys have found dominance up on top, and Rahone has found that #1 Predator spot, kicking Russia into that second position with his aggression. Grenade launcher for the win. These boys are launching themselves into the hearts of fans all across the world.
This is impressive. We know that Lost is impressive, but the spotlight is slowly shifting over to Dragons Esports. I think if this run continues, if they do make it, I dare to say it right now, that they deserve a spot among the greats.
Okay, hell yeah, they most definitely do. But we all know how Champion Rush works, baby. The field is open for the play. Even the underdogs of the competition, all they need to do is just sneak into Point Rush, get in grand funnels, hit those 80 points, and walk away the Booyah to call themselves the champions, the Esports World 2025. Free Fire dominance right here in Brazil. The consistency is mind-blowing.
More than proven enough to all. They are the ones that has a very good chance of winning the whole thing and finishing the job from last year. But for Dragon Esports, keep your eyes on them because 3 more rounds and we will find out if they do make history in top 12. We'll send it to a break and we'll be right back with more Free Fire action.
Quadra kill!
ไม่ต้องเดี๋ยวปล่อยซุปเลือกไอเจลดีกว่า
มาไม่ต้องเถียงกันละเดี๋ยววันนี้เล่นเอง